This is the story about husbandry, which doesn't actually necessarily mean anything to do with marriage, because husbandry is about the care and management of resources. And I got thinking about this while I was walking in the wood one day and wondering, is this natural or is this managed? I'm not sure. And I started noticing things. I noticed the bluebells as they came into flower and blossomed and faded. I noticed the garlic, the smell, the pungent smell of the garlic. And I noticed the wild bird song in my ears and the blowing of the wind in the trees. And one of the things about noticing things is once you start doing that, you do it all the time. So I've started noticing things in my home. I look round and I think, there's a kettle and it's sitting by that rubbish bin. It's been there for weeks because I don't know what to do with it. It's broken, it's leaking. What can I do with it? I don't want to throw it out. So I thought, well, if I remove parts of it, it would make a plant pot and I can plant some herbs in it. And that's what I decided to do. And when I started to dismantle it, I noticed that bits of it were all stuck together with screwed together or clipped together or folded together. And it was actually quite easy to dismantle the kettle. And there were holes drilled in the side, which is perfect for the drainage. So I just filled it with stones, then put some earth in and planted the herbs, and we've got a plant pot. And then I started thinking about what else I could do with the leftovers. There were all these leftovers. I didn't know what to do with them. So I thought, well, the first thing is I could, these copper contacts, little tiny copper contacts. They look like I could make them into earrings. And here they are. See? Made them into earrings. Just twisted together some wire and some beads and made some earrings. Well, that inspired me. I shared some pictures of that and my friends were saying, oh, that's great. So the next thing that I made was I thought to myself, the lid of the kettle, that would be ideal for a number on our back gate because we haven't got a number there. So I painted the number on the plastic lid, and it just clipped onto the back gate, and there it's perfect for the job. Well, thinking about this, I noticed that our dustbin lid had broken off. We didn't have a dustbin lid anymore, so I had to make a new one. So I made that with a wooden frame and covered it with plastic and used the kettle handle for the dustbin lid handle. Well, again, that did the job and it looked fine. So I was really inspired by this now. And in front of me, you'll see some of the things that I've made. There's this necklace here. This is a locket, and I made it from a brass ring. There was a brass ring, and a friend suggested to me, you could put flowers in there, dried flowers. Well, in the end, what I did was I got a piece of shell and put it and cut it into a circle with pair of scissors, and painted some flowers on it and threaded the necklace through there. So that was just from the brass bit that was around the kettle element. And then I had a whole pile of bits and pieces, and I thought, what am I going to do with all those bits and pieces? There's so many. It's all the electrics. I don't know how to deal with them. However, I stared and stared at them, and then this thing jumped out at me. I made this. I love her. This is Deirdre, the data dancer. and she's absolutely lovely because she can move around. So basically it's all electronic bits which I've sewed together with a bit, just some thread actually, and slotted them together so she's got legs that move, shoes that come off, hat that comes off as well. Hat, oops. So I'll put her down now. And I asked for suggestions because I'm running out of ideas at this point. And somebody suggested making a yarn bowl from the kettle base. Well, I was completely, I had no idea what a yarn bowl was. So I looked that up on the internet. And it looked a really useful thing to have. So here's the yarn bowl that I made. And all I did was I took an old plastic bowl from the recycling and I covered it with scraps of yarn that I've actually crocheted it just to make it look pretty. But the main part of the yarn bowl is the bit in the top where you can actually separate each of the bits of wool. And that's the purpose of the yarn bowl. It's to stop the wool getting tangled up. And I've put a button on it so you can just take it off, you can just undo it and see inside. And then I picked up a bit of aluminium and I thought, what can I do with that? I got all sorts of suggestions. But then I thought it looks a bit like a Saxon brooch. Not bronze, I know, but I thought this looks like a Saxon brooch, so I'm going to make it into one. But I got some beads and I just threaded them through and put it on an old Saxon, a cloak that I had to make it look like a Saxon brooch. Updated, obviously, because it's aluminium, and wouldn't have had Saxons wouldn't have had aluminium. And I'm coming now to some of the other things that I made. Somebody suggested that the water filter on the kettle looked like windows. So immediately I thought, right, well, let's make a castle. Because it did look like castle windows. And so you can see there's a water filter here, which I've put into the cardboard. And then there's the plastic here of the mounting for the water filter. So I'm still running out of ideas. I've got the very last thing here now, which is the base of the kettle. And I haven't found out what to do with that yet. I'm going to make a video now of what I actually did with it. Because somebody suggested a candle holder because there's a metal bit in the middle. And I thought, no, you put a candle in there, burns down, sets fire to the plastic. So I looked out for other suggestions, and the suggestions I've got so far is for a decision maker with something that whizzes round, or a bell, because it looks a bit like a bicycle bell. Also, somebody suggested robots again. Anyway, watch the next video to see what we've done with that. Thank you for watching, and I hope you thought this was as much fun as I did. What I feel I've been doing is I feel I've been husbanding all the resources in this house and making sure I've made good use of those resources. Not wasting anything, but also not making anything that I'm not going to use. So I'm making things that are going to be useful, that look nice, and that are fun to make. So see you in the next video. Bye.